I was growing up, my mom only had 3 rules for my sister and I. It was no drinking, no boys, and you must join a sorority. Which, like, looking back, it's an interesting parenting choice. Yeah, because sororities are known for, like, partying and date rape. But when I went to college, my mom, she was so excited. She literally, like, filled out my paperwork. And she was just like, you know, now that you're in a sorority, your college experience is going to be super official. Superficial. Superficial was the word she used. I kid you not, the very...
Okay, so we're one minute in. How do you feel?
Well, it's interesting watching this because it is an old video.
Yeah. So like the jokes are slightly changed now, right?
Slightly, but I can tell I'm talking fast. I'm not even listening or like pausing.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, so many free drinks going on. When I was growing up...
Yeah, how many free drinks going on? Then the audience started to react, woo, and you're like, so when I was starting, you just went...
Yeah.
So she's like, ladies, we're not just to judge girls on their looks, okay? We're also to take into consideration what? Their physical attributes, their appearance, their hair, their makeup, their wardrobe. The girls around me are like, what else is there? Of course. And the PowerPoint.
Okay, so we're 2 minutes in. What I noticed is even there when we pointed at the audience, we didn't actually like interact with the audience. We faux used them. I don't know. How do you feel compared to how you would do it now?
I can just tell I'm acting. I can tell I'm just putting on a performance instead of being myself, because now when I do this joke, I do go like, anyone in a sorority, and like I'll talk to the audience. But this is 3 years later. This was the first time doing it. So yeah, I can tell I'm just like, I'm putting on a voice and I'm acting, and boom, bada bing, and these are my jokes.
Yeah. So for this first about 2 minute section, it takes us about 11 seconds to get a laugh, and the audience has been laughing for about 28% of the time, like 31 seconds out of the 2 minutes. So it's like about a fourth of the time the audience has been laughing. As far as performance, your main thing that you would critique this chase on is like actually using the audience instead of being performative.
Yeah, I can tell it's very performative.
The presentation was beautiful. Like each number had a picture next to it. Like a 5 was a picture of Kate Middleton, classy, royal. A 1 was a picture of a swamp creature. That's real. Like I don't know why, but it really happened. Being in a sorority.
Yeah, that was a big laugh, and I feel like that actually happened. I feel like you sort of were with the audience in that moment, and so like that laugh lasted longer than I think any laugh thus far.
But then watch, this is where I forget my line.
Oh, you remember that one? Yeah. Have you seen this footage recently, or you just remember it?
I always remember. I know you cut it out with the Laughter Party album, and I was so grateful of doing it. But I know, I was like in the moment, and I was like, wow, yeah, that just happened, and then I forgot my line.
Don't tell them I edited it out. It's just as perfect. No, it's fine.
Oh no, I missed a part that I was gonna say.
But even that got a laugh because we were being real and with the audience.
I was being real. That was me being real, and they liked it.
Yeah.
There's more. She would quiz us. Then. She'd be like, Chase, what's a 4? I'd be like, a 4 is a Mila Kunis. A thought, like a little too slutty for our taste. So we just want a few in our sorority to show the guys that we're fun. She's like, good, you added the shoulder. Even worse.
Yeah. How do you, I remember you were always nervous to do like physical bits. I mean, that was just a small one, so that's great because it can still feel not too performative. But how do you feel about stuff like that nowadays?
I'm still nervous. I still don't do it.
I can't remember if that was a rehearsed moment or that was just us in the moment.
I think that was rehearsed.
Oh, look at that performance! A true artist.
I can tell what you're saying. I'm getting, the longer I'm on stage, the more, and they're laughing, the more comfortable I'm getting.
Yeah.
And then they're laughing more.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting more laughs right here than I do sometimes because I'm just like comfortable.
Yeah.
So it was quite the culture shock being in a sorority for me because I was very innocent in high school. I watched Disney Channel all 4 years, and sexual stuff, I was oblivious to it all. I thought this gesture, you've all seen that one? I thought that was, rolling the dice.
Oh, I feel like we could have maybe let the audience laugh more in that bit. I feel like we cut off a laugh, Here, watch. Well, let's just roll it back.
You've all seen that one? I thought that was...
Yeah, I feel like we could have played with that more. Like, you all seen that one and shoot it this way, shoot it that way, and then been silent. I don't know. What are your feelings?
Well, now what I do is I'll say, hey, do you guys know this gesture? And then I'll point to someone in the audience and I'm like, oh, yeah, this guy does.
Yeah,
and
great.
That's
Yeah.
a big laugh.
Yeah, and also I think it's I feel like if you sit in it, you're still doing it, like this guy does, and you're still doing it. Just the fact that you're just doing it and nonchalantly.
Oh, okay.
This guy knows what I'm talking about, but you just keep doing it. And you're like, what about you, sir? This is probably longer than you usually go. Okay. What about you, ma'am? It's probably different for you, but okay, great. Yeah.
What about you? You're on from the... This is probably much longer than you usually.
And in high school, it was just so rough. My favorite shirt was from Abercrombie and Fitch. Y'all remember that store? On the front, it had in big bold font the number 69. It's my favorite shirt, and why my mom let me wear that to school again, I don't know. Interesting parenting choices. But I got so much attention when I wore that shirt. The group of popular guys would always look at me and...
If you notice for that, there's a moment when you got introspective that you looked down at the mic, and we're looking out at the audience, but not using the music. And what's going? You're getting quiet. What are you thinking as you watch this? Are you just oh man, I've come a long way?
I know people always are like, oh no, we can't even tell when you're nervous on stage, but I can see nerves right now. I can just see me just rushing through it.
Interesting.
Stick their tongue out like that. It's oh.
Oh, if we did the you know what I'm talking about, then it's another thing we'd be they'd stick their tongue out you know what I'm talking about, right, Sora? Ma'am, does he know what I'm talking about? If they're with a wife or girlfriend or whatever.
Oh, good.
Or maybe he doesn't really know what we're talking about. I'll show you both later.
It's like a secret handshake?
What?
Does that... Oh, wait, let me keep watching. Never mind.
Do you have an idea? I mean, might as well talk it out like that. Yeah, let's talk it. What were you thinking?
Well, because I don't know what I did here, but now I say, I think it's we're oh, yeah, I thought this was a fun handshake.
Let's see.
And so, would I be in on the joke that...
You'd be they would do this, blah, blah, blah. This guy knows what I'm talking about. Well, back then, I thought it was a fun handshake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's easy wordsmith away.
So Ruby.
Yes, so they're laughing. We could wait for this laugh to die out more. We could let the audience laugh more before we launch back into material. I feel.
Yeah.
Which is my biggest problem is just powering through. Be don't care. It's it doesn't matter if the audience laughs or not. We just got to be able to get through it. So sometimes I really cut off the amount of laughs that I can get. For my own material, my laughs might be high, but my reaction timer might be low because I wouldn't let laughs go to their full extent.
Sat next to me in social studies.
Great, so we are now at 4 minutes. Our second 2-minute section had about 20 laughs, so there's 11 laughs for the first one, 20 laughs for the second section, which means we've gotten a laugh about every 6 seconds, which is almost twice as fast as the first 2 minutes.
Wow.
So this middle bit is and 57 seconds of this have been audience laughing. So about half the time you've been talking this past 2 minutes, the audience has been laughing to some extent. So as far as
that statistic.
Yeah, so as far as if we were gonna cut this down or we were gonna try to just take the best part of this bit, this middle 2 minutes would by far be that section. There's way more laughs and they last for longer. And some of that is performance based as well. What are your thoughts knowing that this second section was almost twice as better, both as how fast you were getting laughs and how much the audience was laughing?
I do know that section is now on the road what I open up my entire set with because I know it gets so many laughs and I think it is one of my strongest. It shows who I am as a person. So I'm very being authentic and talking about how innocent I was in high school, and I think so it shows who I am, and it's also good material thanks to you helping me with it. And at least on the road, not at shows in LA, but when I go on the road with Christina, I'll start with the high school stuff.
Yeah. How is it different? How is it different than what it is here? Is it the same Is it all of these bits, or did we cut out some of that beginning part, or is it the exact same? Is it?
What's gonna be different is what's about to come.
Ooh, okay, I'm excited.
Class, and she was like, "Do you even know what 69 means?" And I was like, "Yes." It's when a man and a woman share the love and spread peace. I'm talking Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Woodstock, 1969. Thinking maybe this girl shouldn't have been so social in social studies class. And then I went back.
Yes, so we had a long silent period because that setup is really long, and then we didn't wait for the audience to get their full laugh out, and so we sort of wasted, like if we have a long period where it takes us to set up a joke, ideally the laugh from that joke would be worth that time, right?
Right. Well, I cut that out.
Oh, gotcha. No, that's good. Like via the metrics, it's like this next 2 minutes or this next minute and a half is the weakest of the set. I can understand like instinctively why that would feel that you should cut that bit of all the bits out. But now we can like mathematically say that like, yeah, that's the right call.
Okay, cool.
I think if we had like 1969 and like let the audience laugh, let that laugh die out, and then they're thinking this girl shouldn't be so social in social class, then we can get a real fast one line to like reignite the laugh, then it might be worth the long setup time. Yeah. It's just a guess, but that's my intuition.
Mm-hmm. On my phone and start, pretend to text somebody, and Logan on my left is like, "Cool Sony phone. What kind do you have?" And fun fact, I had an Ericsson. I had a Sony Ericsson. I did not know that's how you pronounced it. And with all the confidence in the world, I said, "Thanks. I have an erection." It's so embarrassing. That is so humiliating. I couldn't.
That was actually I think we waited for that full laugh. I think that's the first one we waited for that full laugh, and then we lightly talked over it so it was allowed to continue. I don't know. How do you feel about that as opposed to the other ones?
That was interesting. I haven't said it like that since that time, I don't think.
Yeah.
Now I'll do like, "I have a Sony erection."
Oh, great. And a call.
But that was kind of interesting. I was just like, "I have an erection." So I don't know. I liked it, but I think what I do now gets more of a laugh.
Gotcha.
I had a bigger crush on Logan. Also, like, couldn't have had a bigger crush, but it's okay. Like, looking back, it was just okay. He was probably a 3. That's a Mandy Moore. Cute, but forgettable. That's my time. Thank you so much.
Oh, boo. I love our editor, but boo on him. He didn't give you this last applause as reaction.
Oh, boo.
It would so, but for this last minute and a half, we got about 12 laughs and about 23 seconds of audience laugh time, which means it took us about 10 seconds per laugh and about 26% of the time the audience was laughing. So we got laughs faster than the first 2 minutes, but the laughs weren't as long.
They were just,
Yeah. Do's and don'ts for this set.
Do keep the innocent in high school middle section. Don't rush over audience laughs. Don't just go through your set as if you've memorized a monologue. Like, use it as a shell.